Namaste. Welcome to this reflective yoga practice, which is going to encourage you to embrace yourself now and then move forward from there. The yoga's brilliant practice because you don't need to wait to a special occasion, New Year's Day or birthday is some significant event in the year to say, I'm going to make some changes. Every time you get on your mat is an opportunity to open and grow, grab new opportunities, challenges, and move forward. So coming to sitting in a comfortable pose, I'd like you today to take one hand to your heart and the other onto your belly, resting the palms there, gently closing your eyes and come inwards. Connect with your body, connect with your breath. Feeling the rise and fall beneath your hands, the body expanding on the inhale, releasing and relaxing on the exhale. And whatever intentions or goals, or resolutions that you set yourself, I would like you today to bring into this practice the intention to love and accept yourself just as you are. This is not always as easy as it sounds, but if we can achieve this, then we can grow from there. We can build from that point. I want you to say to yourself, I love and accept myself just as I am. And breathe into this. We're going to take 3 more breaths. Let the hands go now. We're going to start warming up the shoulders. If you've been sitting cross-legged for a while, then maybe changing the cross of your legs. And let's take 3 deep, slow breaths together. As we inhale, we're going to lift our shoulders up around our ears. And then let the exhale just sigh out as you drop them. Twice more like that in your own time, lifting the shoulders up, holding for a moment on the inhale, and then letting go, really releasing, letting them drop down. One more time. Inhaling, maybe there's a little click or crunch there, and then dropping down. And each time you do that, feeling that you can let go of something, and then rolling the shoulders around. Again, as long as there's no pain, there might be some satisfying clicks and crackles. That's all tension that you're holding in your body without even realizing it. Lovely. And let's shake out hands and arms, loosen ourselves up, ready for our practice. Great. Resting the hands gently on knees or thighs. And let's roll around on our base. And these Shakti rolls, 3 or 4 times one way and then pausing and going the other way, are all about getting the energy stirred up from our base chakra, the bottom of the spine. And then if you want to swap the flow, and trying to bring it up higher. So we're always trying to get our energy up into these higher areas of energetic chakras, centers, where sometimes the energy doesn't get to. Good. So pausing that. And then let's come to kneeling, hands and knees, tabletop pose. Good. And lengthen that spine. So pressing into hands or forearms if you prefer, really getting a nice long spine. The gaze can be between your hands or to the front of your yoga mat. Check that the neck is nice and long and in line with the spine. And taking an inhale there. Exhale as you round your back up to the ceiling. Draw the belly in, drop the head. Push the hands so that you're pushing away from the mat. And then as you inhale, let the pelvis tilt forward, belly towards the floor, lift the heart, lift the head. And keep this movement flowing up the spine. So the movement starts in the hips, flows up to the head. I want you to think about how you can open to opportunities on the inhale as we lift and stretch the front of the body, and how we can be self-reflective, accepting the past on our exhales. So this idea of needing to come into ourselves at some point, but be open to growth at others. This duality that we find in life, we can face it and accept it on the yoga mat, embrace what it offers us, and it helps us move forward. Lovely. Bring that to stillness. Let's drop back to our heels, just briefly into child pose. Reach the fingertips forwards. Good. And I want us to work dynamically today. Often we come to child for a rest, but I want it to actually be an action pose today. So keep the palms flat on the floor, spread the fingers out, press into the tips of the fingers. And on the inhale, I want you to lift up away from your heels, your ankles. So lift the chest, lift the heart a little forwards, so that as you exhale, you can draw the hips backwards again, lengthen the spine down, maybe the forehead to the floor, and take 3 or 4 more breaths like that, working slowly and mindfully. This can be very subtle in child pose. It's something you can do without even letting other people seeing the movement. But today we're making quite gross movements, coming out of the posture and then back into it to rediscover it. So we're actually working more muscles than usual. And then after 3 or 4 times, staying in child pose, maybe the knees are wider apart than normal, maybe the big toes touch. And if you want to, then you can bring your hands closer to you, either under the forehead or maybe back even next to the feet. And let this pose become more introspective. I want you to notice how grounded you feel in these postures where we're facing the earth. This one especially, I think in stillness, you can really feel that connection with the earth, feel safe, secure. And breathing out, softening the back of your body, letting those hips drop back, if not touching your ankles, towards the ankles. And then we're going to come onto our belly. So reaching the hands forward, either come to Sphinx with your forearms or Cobra, or ready for Cobra with the hands under the shoulders. So it's either elbows under the shoulders or hands under the shoulders, whichever you prefer. And we're going to work into this back bend, again, with a few breaths, so dynamically. The inhale will lift the heart forward and the gaze forward. The exhale, I want you to relax down towards the floor. Forehead can touch if it wants to. Really rolling the shoulders back, feeling you can open the heart. And we want to work the upper back, remember. We want to open the front of the body by working these spinal muscles, not the sacrum, not the lower back, the lumbar spine here. So a little bit of glute engagement, a little bit of work in the thighs. Next couple of breaths, I want you to hover the hands above the mat and lift the heart forward and the gaze forward, stretching back through the toes, then relaxing down. Do that a couple of times. You might not get very high, that's fine. And then taking either the forearms or the hands back down to the mat, keeping those elbows pointing back, lift up again. You should be using the back muscles a little more now. You might find that you can come up more efficiently. This posture shouldn't be all about strength in the arms. It's an opening of the front body, using the muscles of the back body to do so. Lovely. And then next time you're lifting up, use your knees and your hands to push yourself back to all fours. And your choice, you can walk the hands forward for a half puppy dog, or hands just in front of the shoulders, tuck the toes and lift into a full downward facing dog. Stretching out one leg at a time, so bending one knee or with one knee still on the floor, pushing back through the opposite heel to straighten the leg, and then swapping it around. Again, nice slow movements, maybe a sway in the hips, reminding your body of this posture if we haven't come into it for a few weeks. Stretching the back of the body out long, and then coming to stillness in whichever option of the pose you've chosen. First of all, the knees are bent with the inhale, and then really lengthen up through the hips, through the back of those sit bones towards the sky or the back of the room to get a long spine. And if you're in down dog, you can straighten your legs, drawing the heels down to the floor. Repeating that a couple more times, unless you want to rest down to kneeling. So the bent knees, more of a relaxed curved back, or should I say a little arch in the bottom of the back. Lift those sit bones backwards and up, and then if you're in down dog, also taking the heels down towards the floor. And then everyone come back to kneeling. We're going to take that into a flow with 4 movements and trying to do this with the breath. So there'll be 2 inhales, 2 exhales. You can modify this as you want to. If your wrists aren't comfortable taking weight, then please use the forearm options. You can pause, you can take extra breaths in a posture if you like it, but let's start off going through this together. So we're going to draw ourselves back to child pose. On the inhale, we're going to come forward to either Sphinx or Cobra. On the exhale, going to take the hips back, either for a half down dog, a puppy dog, or tucking the toes, lifting into downward facing dog. And then on the inhale, everyone on all fours, lift the heart and lift the tailbone for cow pose, so opening the body. So you've got an exhale into child, an inhale into cobra or sphinx, an exhale to half dog or downward facing dog, and then an inhale into cow pose. So keep that going. It could be really slow with your breath. You might want to pause at the end of the inhale or exhale. As I say, you might want to spend an extra breath in a posture before moving on to the next one. If there's something your body is not allowing you to do today, you might need to skip one of them. You can adapt it, maybe coming to kneeling for that breath and taking a pause there. So in your own way, I want you to move through these different shapes, making this your own practice, exploring what your body is offering you today, what your energy is offering you today, what your emotions are telling you would be good for you today. Couple more times through. And this is a simple sequence that you could use as a daily practice if you've only got 5 or 10 minutes. Warming up the spine, connecting with the breath. Next time you come to child pose, resting there. And either bringing hands under the head or down by the feet again, coming into your chosen child pose. Reflect, so pausing and reflecting, scanning through the body and seeing how you're feeling. What is going on for you? Can you keep that intention through the practice to love and accept yourself just as you are? Well done. So let's rise up to all fours. You have the option for the next little sequence we're going to do to keep this on ground level with hands and knees all on the floor, or take it to down dog, so with just that little bit higher up. So I'm going to demo this first bit on all fours, but you might now want to come onto downward facing dog. We're going to take the right foot forward. So if you're in down dog, you might want to sweep it up in three-legged dog. And we're going to bring the right foot between the hands so that we end up in a low lunge. And make sure that your feet are on train tracks, not on a tightrope, that you feel stable here. If you feel like a challenge, you can lift the knee in a high runner's lunge. We're going to come into our crescent lunge and then a twist. So it's up to you. You can lift that knee and drop down anytime if you change your mind. On an inhale, take the hands up to the sky. If they don't want to stay there, you can bring them to the heart. If you're happy with the hands lifted, keep the gaze either forward or look up between your hands. Now think about, again, that lumbar spine. We don't want all the work going there. Draw in the tummy, draw it away from that front thigh. Tailbone is long, reaching down to the floor. Nice big inhale, exhale here. And then bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra, either at the heart or above the head. Inhale. As you exhale, open out to the side. So right hand over the right knee, left hand reaching back. Good. And notice hopefully how that felt nice and open. We're twisting to the side now instead of the front. Then we're going to turn it the other way round. So inhale, lifting the hands together either at the heart space or above the head. And as you exhale, turn the other way. So now the left hand reaches forward over that right knee and the right hand reaches back. This will probably feel tighter. Good. So acknowledging how this feels in your body. Nice deep breaths here, trying to keep the chest open. If you don't want to come completely into this twist, hands at the heart. You don't have to be a whole 90-degree rotation. But we're now going to take a revolved lunge. So inhale, exhale, bring the left hand down to the floor, right hand to the hip. And here we can work first getting length in the spine and then turning the tummy towards that bent leg. You're controlling this twist, so you could keep the gaze down at the floor or sideways, or maybe if you feel like opening it up, you can take that right hand up to the sky, reaching the fingers up. If that doesn't work out, the palm doesn't want to face forward, if the hand doesn't want to lift, keep the hand on the hip and work on elongating the spine and turning the belly to your point of resistance. Good, lovely deep breaths here. On the exhale, you're going to come back down, hands either side of the front foot. And tucking the back toes, you're either stepping back to kneeling on all fours or downward facing dogs. It might be nice to walk out the legs in down dog. And then if you want to return to all fours, you can, or you could stay as you are in downward facing dog. So this time, it's going to be the left leg coming forward between the hands. So if you're in downward facing dog, maybe nice to sweep the left leg up, behind, and then through. Settle yourself in a low lunge. Make sure you feel stable, the hips facing forward, the foot is grounded, back toes can stay tucked if you want or untucked. If you really want a challenge, you can do it on the next level up with that back knee lifted. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up, and they're either staying there or they're coming to the heart space. In your crescent lunge, inhaling, exhaling here. Again, think about those core muscles drawing the belly gently back towards the spine so that lumbar area stays relaxed, the tailbone is long. Nice big slow breaths here. We're going to open out to the side. So inhale, palms together. Exhale, left hand over the left knee. First of all, that nice open twist. Deep breath. Inhale, lifting hands or palms in front of the heart, and then take the twist the other way. Good. This is the tighter version. So think about your alignment. Is that front knee roughly still over the front ankle? How does this feel in the body? Is it right to have your hands reaching out? Would you be better served bringing them in front of the heart and keeping them there? Lovely. And then we'll take it into our revolved lunge. Inhale, exhale, right hand down to the mat. And take the left hand to the hip first, even if you think, yeah, I'm going to lift it up, because it helps to spin the heart and take that top shoulder back first. If that's comfortable, lifting the hand should be effortless. If that's difficult, then don't lift the hand. Work with what you are offered today. Lengthen the spine with every inhale. We always want to have a nice long spine when we're revolving and twisting it. And think about this open heart, either looking up or down or sideways. Let's have one more big breath here. Exhaling, hands frame the front foot again, tucking the back toes and stepping back to kneeling or downward facing dog. You're welcome to take a few breaths where you are or come back down to child pose. What is right for you? Lovely. And wherever you've ended up, we're going to make our way into a forward fold at the front of the mat. So that might involve walking the feet forward, keeping the knees bent, and then deciding if it's okay to have the head lower than the heart, great. Let it all relax down. If that doesn't feel right, maybe hands on thighs and keep the head and heart more parallel with the floor. The hands can dangle or they can hold the legs. They could hold opposite elbows. Let the neck be free. So a little shake and a nod often helps release it. And if you've got the feet close together, do you feel balanced and stable? If not, open them out, hip width apart, maybe even a little wider. Couple of breaths here, little bend in the knees, a little extra bend, and then lifting the hips. See how it feels to straighten the legs today. Maybe there's a stretch to be found in the hamstrings. Couple of times repeating that. It's gorgeous to stretch on the exhale. And then you decide whether you're going to roll up slowly, or perhaps your back might thank you for lifting the head, collecting the chest, and either way, pushing into the legs, either rolling the spine or coming up with a flatter spine, to standing, lifting the arms if you want to. We're all going to meet together in mountain pose at the front of your mat. Some nice deep breaths. And anytime you want to, take the opportunity to close your eyes when practicing yoga. Ideally in those still moments, but as you get more confident and you can challenge your balance, then maybe when you're moving and doing the other postures as well. Take the opportunity to scan through the body, see what's changing, how your energy is, how the breath is, the body, what is it doing? How is the heart rate? Great. And then I want you to take a turn to your left and a nice big wide stride. Start with your toes pointing towards the wide edge of the mat, the long edge of the mat, and then turn your right toes to the front of the mat. Tuck in the left toes, the back toes a little bit, so they're a little bit forward at an angle. And we'll take warrior two. So inhale, reaching the arms out, looking down that right arm. Exhale, bend the right knee. Again, you have the option of staying with the arms extended or bringing one or both of them to the hips if you prefer. The gaze is strong and steady over that right arm. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and feel strong and powerful here. I want you to take a sneaky look at the back arm. Has it gone for a little wander? Is it shoulder height? Is it reaching back to the back of the room? Or have you reached too far forward? Are you leaning forward? So we want the shoulders over the hips, and every exhale, let's see if we can drop those hips down a little lower, working the thighs, strong legs in this position. Gorgeous. So looking forward down that middle finger of the right hand. We're going to change this posture to a warrior two facing the back of your mat. We're going to try and do it in one breath. So as you inhale, cross the wrists in front of you, straighten the front leg, turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat, make a lovely circle with your arms. And then as you exhale, turn the left toes to the back of your mat, right toes adjust, and you come down into warrior two, facing the back of your mat. Adjust the legs, the feet if you need to. Ask yourself, are my arms and shoulders okay with still being outstretched? If not, take them to the hips for a couple of breaths or the rest of the posture. Again, look over, check that back hand. Is it as strong and as active as the front arm? Your gaze is lifted, your heart is open. We can be reflective, anchored in the past, with that back foot really pressing down through the back edge, but looking forwards to future opportunities, to our growth, to the challenges that might face us, embracing them with open heart, open mind. Gorgeous. Going to come back to the center now. So inhale, cross your wrists. Turn the 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Make that big circle again. This time, bring the hands down onto the hips. So you should end up in a wide-legged position facing the edge of the side of your mat. Great. And we'll do a forward fold from here. So hands can stay on the hips, or maybe two peace fingers can tuck into that hip crease right at the top of your legs, and that's going to remind you where to bow forwards from. So breathing in, we'll come halfway. On the exhale, heart and head come parallel with the floor. You might already feel a stretch down the back of the legs, maybe not yet, but a little bend in the knees is going to assist the rest of the journey. So inhale, reaching out through the crown of the head, keep those hips over the legs, keep them in line. As you bow forward on the exhale, release the hands down. They might reach the floor, they might come to your legs, you might want to grab a block to place them on. And ease yourself into this posture. So either bending and straightening the knees, or sometimes it's nice to bend one knee and then the other, swaying the hips, letting yourself release down. Again, if the head doesn't like being this low, keep the hands on the thighs and come halfway up so that you're doing this half forward fold. Otherwise, releasing down, it's introspective again, this lovely position where we come inside. We reduce the stimulus from the outside world. Taking our time to breathe in this posture. I want you to slowly walk your hands, tiptoe your fingers over to your back foot, so over to your left foot. If you can't reach the foot, then resting the hands on the shin or the ankle. Maybe you can grab hold of the outside of your left foot, but looking that way. So it's a little twist, and then trying to straighten the legs, especially this left leg. Getting a stretch down that side of the body, that back leg. The hamstrings might tell you, yes, you are stretching me. The hips reaching up, the foot pressing down. And then bending that knee, release the tension a little. Tiptoe your hands around to the front of your mat, towards that right foot. Reaching for it, maybe starting at the shin and sliding down from there. Slowly straightening the leg as best you can, reaching the crown of the head towards the toes. Breathing into any strong sensation that you find. Can you find an edge to work with the breath? Breathing out, enjoying a stretch if it feels nice. And then bending that right knee. Allow the toes to rotate around so that all 10 toes are facing the front of your mat again. You'll end up in a runner's lunge. Step the foot forward into a forward fold. And making your way up, either rolling up or bending the knees, lifting with a flatter back. Coming upright to standing, releasing the hands down and returning to Tadasana, our mountain pose. Good stuff. So while you take a moment there to let the breath settle and scan through the body again, I want you to think about coming from movement to stillness, and we'll see how our balance is today. So our classic tree pose can be used to check in with your balance against the wall, against a chair, with the toes remaining on the floor, or with one foot right up against the thigh of the other leg. It doesn't matter. It's what's right for you and what's right for the mind as well as the body, because balances are about stilling the mind and focusing the mind. So coming to standing and thinking about your left foot, first of all, being the standing leg, pressing into that left foot, bringing the right toes near to it, just a little balance on tiptoes, and taking that right knee out to the side. Now find something to focus on, a fixed point that's not going to be moving. Gazing at that, decide whether to keep your hands down by your side or bringing them into the heart. Lifting the right foot onto the leg when you get your cue. Like that could mean placing the right foot on top of the left, or keeping the toes touching. It might be catching hold of your right foot, drawing it up into the thigh. But if it immediately slides down, then it's better to have it on the calf rather than trying to continue the balance up with the foot higher. As long as it's not resting on the knee. And then check that the breath is still flowing smoothly in and out. And you relax the shoulders, keeping that leg strong. And if you fall out of the posture, can you come back into it without judgment, without becoming annoyed or frustrated, with acceptance? It's called a yoga practice for a reason. Good. Couple more breaths if you can. When it becomes really challenging, that's when you often make the breakthrough and make the growth the most, and then releasing the foot down to the floor when you're ready. Well done. Take a moment before you shift the weight to acknowledge the work of one leg and the difference in the feeling between one leg and the other, and then deliberately shifting the weight into your right foot, bringing the left toes to balance near to it, reasserting your drishti, your gaze. And then you'll get your inner cue telling you when you're ready to try lifting that foot. Again, it could be any level. It's more important to find that point of concentration you can stay at than to have the foot higher up on the leg. And when you find it, work with the breath. Let the breath be your friend, this time trying to keep it smooth and even. Inhales and exhales equal. Let a little smile play across your lips, perhaps. Feel the leg pushing into the foot as much as the foot is pushing into the leg. Opening the knee out to the side. Well done. Accepting the challenge that the balance offers us. Couple more breaths if you can. Well done, everybody. And releasing the foot down. Feeling gratitude flowing through the body. So still at the front of our mat, we're going to take a little shake out and wobble the knees, shake out the arms. And we're going to take the feet a little bit wider than hip width apart with soft knees. I want you to sway gently from side to side. And this is a lovely way to release tension, either before your yoga practice or when we've just done something which has concentrated the energy and maybe caused a little tension in the body. So gradually making these movements a bit bigger, tapping your sides, your thighs. Maybe looking from side to side. Maybe the heels start lifting up as the movements get bigger. And then slowly reversing that to make the movement smaller, more subtle. A lighter tap on the body, so you're hardly swaying at all, and then finding stillness. Roll the shoulders back, come to Tadasana, close the eyes for a couple of breaths. Letting go of the old, ready to move now into the new. Bring your hands to your heart. We're going to take a forward fold. You can keep the legs, the feet as they are, or bring them a little closer together. And this time we're going to fold with the arms behind our back. You're welcome to release the arms at any point that's appropriate to you. So inhale and lift the arms up, but instead of bringing them down the front of the body, on the exhale, take them out to the side and interlace the fingers behind the back, so behind the hips. And you can keep the elbows bent, or you can reach the knuckles away now to straighten the arms and feel this opening across the chest. Really nice shoulder stretch. If your shoulders are saying this is not nice, then soften it, or keep the hands on the hips. And from here, we're going to bend forwards, keeping the hands behind our back if that's appropriate for you. So inhale, and then on the exhale, bow down, maybe halfway at first, seeing how that feels. Welcome to keep the arms straight or elbows bent. And then inhale, exhale, continue the journey. Maybe the hands now are lifting up and even over, maybe towards your head. This is strong on the shoulders. Okay, if they're healthy, then it's developing the muscles and is a really nice opening, squeezing the shoulder blades. If there's any issues going on, then maybe softening the elbows, bringing the hands onto the back or dangling them forwards. Wherever you are, take 2 or 3 more breaths. Maybe bend the knees on the inhale and then exhale, come fully into your forward fold, whatever your body's offering you. And when you're ready, releasing the hands, bending the knees enough so that the fingertips can touch the floor. And I want you to bend the knees, lift the heels to come into a toe balance. So you're squatting the heels down, the hips down to the heels. Good, like you're a little bird perched on a branch. Fingertips might stay on the floor. We're going to take a few breaths here. If it's not right for you, do sit down. We'll join you in a minute. Otherwise, maybe the hands could come to the heart. Again, a little focus point ahead of you will help this. Breathing in, breathing out, knees pointing forwards, maybe a little squeeze in the thighs, in the glutes. Hands can come down to the floor, or if your toes or ankles do not like this, you can come to sitting, but still do the breathing. Stay with the class. When you feel that's enough, then you're welcome to use your hands if you want to, or rock down to sitting. And stretch the legs out in front of you. Dandasana, our staff pose. Toes pointed up to the sky. Legs straight. Hands down beside the hips and lengthen through the spine. Good stuff. And then lifting the hips forward so that the knees are bent. Ease yourself down to lying on your back. You might want to take any extra layers with you that you might need in a minute for relaxation. So if you want socks or blankets at the ready, do get them now. And then lying on the floor, we want everything in line. So the head centered in the middle of the shoulders, shoulders in line with the hips, the knees, the ankles. Maybe walking the heels back towards the hips a little until that point where they're about to lift off the ground. That should line them up under the knees. And we're going to take bridge pose. You're welcome to keep going with this dynamically. Keep it in stillness or relax in and out of it. Let's start with palms face down to the floor beside the hips. Nice long spine, so shuffle the shoulders, lift the hips and stretch the tailbone out. And then when you're ready, pushing down into the feet, inhale, hips lift up. You roll up the spine, opening the chest, keep the head and neck relaxed. On the exhale, you slowly roll down again. Use your tummy muscles and glutes and thighs to control the descent, trying to roll down the spine, hips coming down last. So a couple more times like that. Trying to isolate each vertebrae as you roll up and as you roll down. So you're feeling a curve in the spine, sometimes harder than it sounds. And then after your third inhale, you're welcome to stay up in bridge pose, to rest down for a few breaths, or to keep working dynamically. If you're going to stay up here, each inhale, you're looking for more of an opening, more of a lift. And that might mean on the exhale, you dip your hips a little bit. You could try wiggling the shoulders underneath. So the shoulder blades come together and you link your hands under your hips, pressing down into the floor through the forearms as you inhale, lifting your heart more. As you exhale, release the work a little bit. So maybe more work going on than usual in the arms and legs in your bridge pose. 2 or 3 more breaths, however you're working. If you've been resting, I want you to take one more inhale, rolling up into your bridge. And then everyone on your next exhale, slowly, with control, come down to the floor, really trying to make those hips the last thing that rests down. Good. And release and relax. Hugging the knees into the chest, maybe a little rock and roll. We'll finish with a lying twist. So arms can come out as high as shoulder height if you want to, otherwise the hands can stay a little bit nearer to the hips. Try palms facing up. If that's not right for you, then face them down. And we're going to drop the knees to the right first of all. So start by shimmying your hips deliberately to the left. It's going to help with the twist. So just moving the hips a little to the left, then lift the knees over the chest, feet come off the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees over to the right, towards the right elbow, and let part of your legs find the floor. If the knees don't get there, touch the feet down on the floor and shimmy the hips back a little more. Maybe that helps. When you've found a position you can rest in, and that might mean bringing a cushion or block under the knees or taking the knees further away from the elbow, then you can choose to keep the gaze up to the ceiling or turn to look at the left hand. And it's another posture where I really encourage the idea of closing your eyes and coming in. So this idea of looking at the opposite hand, I always think of as looking into the past, whereas your body is facing to the future. So we have to accept the past. It comes with us. We take what we've learned from it. And then there's this important part of letting go of what we want to release, change, what doesn't serve us to spend time holding on to. And a twist is really good for wringing out the body. So think of it like a wet flannel that you're wringing out. And when we unwind from this, it's all fresh and lighter and new and ready to go. Every exhale, let the body come in more contact with the floor. Releasing and relaxing. So if your shoulder lifted or if the knees weren't quite on the floor, maybe every exhale they get a little closer. Letting go. Couple more breaths on this side. And you Maybe sigh out the last couple of exhales, really releasing. And then let it be an inhale, which takes the knees up towards the ceiling, and an exhale that places the feet back on the floor. And then take your time to shimmy the hips back, adjust the shoulders so that you come back into a straight line again. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, all in a straight line. Observe how the body feels before we go to the other side. And one side might feel different to the other in this posture. So just noticing. Let's first of all shift our hips deliberately to the right. And then lifting the knees up. Inhale. Exhale as you drop them towards the left shoulder, the left elbow. Drop them towards the left elbow now. And again, take a couple of breaths, seeing how this feels on this side. And then maybe you need to shuffle a little to adjust the position. Move the knees closer to the elbow, further away from the elbow. Decide whether the head is going to be turned towards the right palm or leave the nose pointing up to the ceiling. Let the body accept the posture, and then the work in this pose is to not do work. Can you let go? Can you relax? Closing the eyes helps. It withdraws the external stimulus. Come inwards, scan through the body. Notice where are the areas that are holding on, that are resisting, turning, moving the body in this way. Breathe into those places. Breathe space and light in. And exhale, invite the tension to leave. This feeling of letting go. A wonderful way of letting go of the past, looking into the future. Is more of your body in contact with the floor than when you first came into the posture? No judgment, no specific aims, just observing, noticing. Couple more breaths. And then inhaling, lifting the knees up, exhaling, placing your feet on the floor, shimmying yourself into a straight position again. Bring the hands closer to the body. Maybe you want to hug the knees into the chest, link the fingers, and rock from side to side. Perhaps you want to stretch out the legs, reaching through the toes, and stretch the hands over the heads, reaching through the fingers. And when you're ready, I want you to choose your position for relaxation. Could be with the knees bent again. Could be with the legs straight, the toes dropped out to the sides. See how it feels to have the palms up to the sky. Otherwise, maybe the hands rest on the belly. Or if you prefer, you can spend the next few minutes in a meditation position, seated, resting against the wall or sat on a block. Make sure that you're warm and invite your body to relax. Allow the eyes to close if that's okay for you. And surrender. Feel that connection with the earth, supported, held. And starting with your toes, we're going to scan up through the body, inviting relaxation. So checking that the soles of the feet and the tops of the feet are relaxing, ankles, feeling this warmth and relaxation spread up the shins and around the calves, the knees, fronts of the thighs and the backs of the thighs. A lot of tension often held around the hips, so invite them to let go. Widening across the belly, around the lower back, the lumbar spine, around the ribs. Let the tummy be soft, the back relaxed, chest, the shoulder blades, all around the shoulders, down the arms, thinking about the fingers being relaxed and released, not held, not tight. Palms, backs of the hands, wrists, lower arms, elbows and upper arms. Heavy, relaxed. Thinking of those shoulders, can they drop a little more? Coming up through the neck, the throat, the back of the neck, right up over the back of the head. How's the jaw? Is there a little bit of space between the teeth? Is the tongue relaxed? The skin on the face soft? Place between the eyebrows melting away. Over the forehead, around the temples, right up over the crown of the head. And now, like a laser scanner, scan back down from the crown of your head through your body. And this scan is taking any tension, any remnants remaining in your body away, down through the arms to the fingertips, the legs, to the tips of the toes, fully releasing and relaxing your body. Thinking once more of our intention at the start of the class, to love and accept ourselves just as we are. Socrates said thousands of years ago that the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So I want you to think about embracing what has gone before, blessing it and letting it go, and then looking forwards and being open to change, to growth, to new opportunities, to challenges. Feeling like you're giving yourself a big hug, big warm hug of acceptance and love. I'd like you to take 3 more breaths here in this relaxed pose, like we did at the beginning, inhaling through the nose and maybe sighing out the exhale, feeling yourself dropping, like you're putting down a heavy weight. One more time. And then opening up into your new yoga body, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe having a stretch or a yawn, a hug of the knees, maybe rolling onto your side. Slowly making your way back up to a seated position. And bringing your hands in front of the heart. Let's take a deep breath together to end our practice. Inhale, reaching the arms out and up. Exhale, bringing them down the center as we take a bow. Surrendering to what has gone before, being open to whatever lies ahead, loving and accepting yourself just as you are, knowing that everything else will follow. Namaste.